I speak to you now with the fire of divine law burning in my mouth and the sword of spirit drawn from its sheath, for one word alone has been cutting off your money blessings and strangling the rivers of gold that God Almighty has decreed must flow to you freely, swiftly, endlessly. Hear me well. Your chains are not made of iron or debt notices. They are forged by the vibration of one dangerous word you have sown into the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. A word that has taken root like a poisonous vine, choking out the harvest that belongs to you by divine right. The Spirit of truth within me will not whisper this. I will thunder it, because the Scripture declares, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." I say to you, one syllable spoken in fear can barricade heaven's treasury, but one decree of faith can fling open its gates wider than any banker's vault. You have been told to wait, to toil, to plead with God for supply, yet your Father already prepared the feast. It was your own tongue that slammed the door and turned away the servants carrying silver and gold. I come to break that lie, to strike it from your lips and your life. You are not meant to live in loops of lack. You are not meant to chase coins like a beggar in a storm. By spiritual law, money is designed to hunt you down, overtake you, and heap itself at your feet. But as long as this single treacherous word remains in your mouth, even spoken unconsciously, it commands angels of provision to stand still. Today, by the authority of Christ within, I declare that word identified, exposed, and demolished. Every chain of delay snaps now. Every shadow of poverty evaporates before the radiance of divine abundance rising in you like the sun. You have wondered why your affirmations failed, why your prayers echoed unanswered, why opportunities withered on the vine. The enemy of your supply was not hidden in the economy or the marketplace. It crouched in your own speech, waiting to strangle each seed of prosperity the moment it sprouted. But listen to me. In the kingdom, there is no delay, no withholding, no lack. The instant you speak with divine alignment, law rushes to perform it. Jesus said, "By thy words thou art justified, and by thy words thou art condemned." Your liberation is not years away, not months away. It is one decree away. One sentence of truth spoken in faith and divine authority resets your entire life. Before we uproot this deadly word, you must see how it has secretly ruled your finances. You must see how its venom spread like unseen chains binding your hands from receiving the treasure prepared for you before you were formed in the womb. Now, in the full light of revelation, we march forward to expose the law that has been operating since the beginning of creation, the law of the spoken word, so that you may wield it not as a dagger against your own wealth, but as the royal scepter of dominion God placed in your hand. From the dawn of creation, when infinite intelligence moved upon the face of the waters and declared, "Let there be light," and light burst forth from the unseen into the seen, the entire universe has been governed by one unchanging principle. The spoken word is law in action. Everything you touch, every coin you hold, every opportunity that has appeared or fled from you, has been called into your experience, not by effort, not by striving, not by hours of anxious labor, but by the vibration of words you have sent out as decrees to the invisible forces that shape this earthly realm. Long before you held a wallet or signed a paycheck, your words had already traced the blueprint of your wealth or your want, summoning abundance or banishment in perfect obedience to the faith or fear behind them. The law cannot be broken. It is as fixed as the stars that hang over your head tonight. As I speak, unseen scribes of spirit record every utterance of your lips, carving it into the scroll of your destiny until you awaken and take up the mantle of conscious command. You have been told that money comes by hustle, by human calculation, by grinding and clawing for position in a world of competition. That is the great illusion that keeps millions running in circles like prisoners who imagine their cell is open air. Florence Scovel Shinn taught, and I declare again to you, that this is not a battle, it is a game of divine law. What you give in word and thought returns multiplied, just as surely as a seed sown in the ground must break open and bring forth after its kind. Speak of debt, and you decree chains around your ankles. Speak of scarcity, and you summon more lack than you can measure. Speak in fear of losing, and you have already called loss to your door before you see it on any ledger. And yet, speak as a queen or king of spirit. Declare that God is your unfailing supply. Proclaim with conviction that you are one with your divine inheritance, and watch as law obeys, rearranging every circumstance to mirror your command, bending even hardened hearts to deliver the provision meant for you. Invisible chains, forged link by link with each careless phrase, have been binding your finances tighter than any earthly rope. These chains are not seen by human eyes. They slither silently through the corridors of your subconscious, wrapping around every divine idea of prosperity until not even your prayers can slip past without entanglement. You may have wondered why blessings seemed delayed, why opportunities slipped through your fingers like water, why your affirmations felt hollow echoes that never touched the ground. The reason is this: every word you speak plants an image in the soil of your mind, and your subconscious, faithful servant that it is, executes those commands to the minutest detail. It does not argue, it does not reason, it does not edit. Like a scribe chiseling decrees into stone, it writes exactly what you say, and law must fulfill it in your experience. Consider this: a woman speaks lightly. I am always struggling with money, thinking it harmless, venting to a friend, yet the universe hears not casual complaint, but royal edict. Law bows, angels of supply halt, and struggling becomes her daily bread until she speaks another command. A man jokes, I can't keep $1 to save my life. And unseen, the machinery of spirit sets in motion to ensure dollars flee from him like startled birds. There are no idle words in the realm of spirit. Every utterance is a seed, and every seed produces its harvest without fail. This is why Jesus warned, every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof. For those words live, they work, they create. To speak lack is to engrave it upon the tablet of your destiny. To speak wealth is to open golden gates where before there were walls of brass. Awaken now, for you are not a beggar before heaven. You are the architect of your fortune. The power of the spoken word was not given to torment you, but to crown you with dominion. The same creative word that hung galaxies in space has been placed in your mouth, entrusted to your breath, waiting for you to wield it as a rod of authority instead of a whip of self-punishment. The ancient law is simple, yet inexorable. As you decree, so shall it be established unto you. There is no neutral speech. Every word is either erecting a temple of abundance or digging a pit of poverty. As surely as dawn follows night, so does manifestation follow utterance. This is not mystical fancy, but divine science, spiritual mathematics that never errs. To reverse the current of lack that has swept through your finances, you must first stand still and see that this river has flowed from your own tongue. And when you recognize this, you will know that you have the power to command the waters to part, to dry up droughts of money blessing, and to call forth floods of wealth rushing in under grace and in perfect ways. Now that you have glimpsed the majesty and peril of this law, the next unveiling must come. We will peel back the veil and expose the single most venomous word that has been slithering from your lips, day after day, unseen yet potent, sabotaging your divine supply. Prepare your heart, for revelation brings liberation. Once this word is dragged into the light, its power will shrivel, and you will stand with me to decree its destruction and the restoration of wealth that heaven has kept waiting for you since before time began. Now we stand at the threshold of revelation, and as I open this hidden vault of truth, feel the atmosphere shifting around you, because when the most dangerous word is uncovered, every false tower of lack that has been erected in your life will tremble. Every invisible gate barring your wealth will screech and splinter, and every chain of delay will shatter as light floods through. I speak not lightly nor in passing suggestion, but with the weight of divine authority. The word that blocks your money blessing, the word that has slithered past your own discernment and yet wielded unchallenged dominion over your financial destiny, is the word can't. This one syllable, small in sound but immense in consequence, has carried the vibration of resistance through your bloodstream, echoing down the corridors of your subconscious mind, stamping impossible over promises that were already signed. sealed, and delivered in the heavenly courts. Every time you said, "I can't afford this. I can't make that happen. I can't see a way out," you were not describing reality. You were creating it. And the moment the breath carried that word into sound, unseen forces obeyed as if the king himself had issued the order. Because in the kingdom, your word is law, whether you use it in ignorance or in wisdom. Think of it. When you say, "I can't," the living, pulsating, responsive universe hears not a plea for help, but a command of prohibition. Angels of provision who stand ready with golden trays of opportunity here, stand down, do not deliver. Money itself, which is energy, which is spirit clothed in numbers and notes and credit lines, feels the vibration of can't like a locked door slammed in its face, and it withdraws, respecting the edict you yourself have spoken. The divine rivers that were designed to flow into your life, rivers that no man can dam when you decree in alignment with truth, have been held back by your own speech, piled up like waters behind a spiritual wall, waiting for you to speak another word, one that allows them to rush forth in torrents of blessing. But as long as the word can't remains in your mouth, as long as it drips from your lips like venom masked in casual conversation, no amount of affirmations layered on top will fully break through, because a single can't is a spiritual veto against every declaration of wealth you make. Theologically, this word is rebellion against the divine nature implanted within you. Scripture declares that with God all things are possible, that you are made in His image and likeness, and that His Spirit quickens you with power and authority to subdue every condition and walk in dominion over every circumstance. Yet when you say, "I can't," you deny that divine likeness. You speak as though separated from the infinite. You reject the inheritance already placed in your hand by daring to call it impossible. It is not a small word. It is a spiritual blockade, a denial of your own Christ nature, a blasphemy against the creative force that moves through you as breath and thought and speech. Every can't is a whispered agreement with lack, a handshake with defeat, a signed contract with limitation that heaven never authored yet must honor until you tear it up with a new decree. Metaphysically, can't forms thought forms that are heavy, leaden, obstructive. These thought forms gather around your subconscious like thick gray fog, clouding vision, attracting conditions that mirror their energy. Say, "I can't pay this bill," and watch as unforeseen expenses arise to confirm your decree. Utter, "I can't see a way to wealth," and the paths that already existed before your feet are cloaked from your sight, invisible to your searching eyes. Murmur, "I can't break free of debt," and debt clings like a jealous shadow, responding to your faith in its permanence. This is no superstition, no idle musing. It is divine law functioning with precision more exact than any earthly science. Florence Scovel Shinn herself proclaimed that the subconscious has no sense of humor, that every word you speak is impressed upon it like a phonographic record, replaying endlessly until you smash it and make a new one. Can't is the old record, scratched and cursed, keeping you dancing to the same tune of struggle no matter how hard you try to step to a different rhythm. But listen now to the thunder rolling through spirit as this revelation sinks into your bones. Because the dangerous word has been named, because its cloak of invisibility has been torn away by truth, its dominion over you is already cracking. There is a spiritual law called substitution. When a wrong idea is replaced by a right idea, there is no loss, only gain, no sacrifice, only divine exchange. As you awaken to see can't as the lie it has always been, heaven rushes to substitute every false limitation with divine possibility, every blocked channel with open highways of provision, every empty hand with overflowing cups. The moment you renounce can't and decree I can, not as human boasting, but as divine alignment with the God force within, law responds instantly. Invisible chains fall, and money, no longer repelled, turns and races to you from north, south, east, and west, answering the sound of authority restored to your voice. So now you know, the most dangerous word is not some hidden curse spoken by others against you. It is the unchallenged vibration of can't issued by your own mouth. But we do not stop at knowledge. Revelation demands transformation. We must trace how this word has invaded every corner of your life, how it has rooted itself in your subconscious patterns, how it has shaped your daily speech without your noticing. For only when we see its web fully can we burn it away with divine fire and seal your lips with the language of wealth and dominion ordained for you since the foundation of the world. I remember a woman who once came to me with her shoulders hunched as though she bore invisible chains weighing her down, her voice trembling with frustration and hopelessness, telling me that no matter what she did, no matter how many hours she worked or how many prayers she uttered, her financial life seemed cursed to a cycle of near breakthroughs that collapsed into disappointment, of opportunities that slipped through her grasp like mist before sunrise. As she spoke, I listened not just to the words she chose, but to the vibration beneath them. And again, I heard the silent, habitual decree of, "I can't," seeping from her spirit like a steady drip of poison shaping her entire reality. She said things like, "I can't get ahead. I can't make money stay. I can't see a way out of this debt." And every time she said it, her energy seemed to fold in on itself, her divine magnetism for wealth retracting as though angels of supply were stepping back in obedience to her own unconscious command. It was not an external curse that bound her. It was a self-issued decree carried on her own breath, one that the faithful subconscious mind, like an unsleeping servant, had dutifully carved into the stone of her destiny, surrounding her with walls of limitation that no human effort could scale because she herself was reinforcing them with every utterance of that dangerous word. When I showed her the truth of spiritual law, that each word is a seed and each seed must bring forth its harvest, her eyes widened in shock, for she had not realized that every time she declared, "I can't," she was instructing her subconscious to block wealth, to sabotage opportunities, to maintain the struggle she so desperately wanted to escape. But here is where the miracle began. Instead of condemning herself, instead of drowning in guilt for the years lost under that decree, she rose up in faith and spoke with me a new word, a divine decree drawn from the wellspring of her Christ nature. Together we declared, "I can do all things through the God within who strengthens me. I can receive wealth by divine right. I can open the gates of heaven's treasury and walk into my promised land of supply." We repeated it not as empty affirmation, but as spiritual law, hammering it into the subconscious like golden nails until the old phonographic record of "I can't" shattered and a new record began to play, one vibrating with dominion, possibility, and divine certainty. Within weeks, doors she thought sealed forever swung wide. A forgotten investment resurfaced with unexpected returns. A client who had once rejected her came seeking her services at double her usual fee, and bills that had loomed like mountains dissolved in the flood of provision that poured in. The transformation was not gradual or hard-won. It was instant because law only ever responds to the words spoken with authority and alignment. And once she renounced can't, once she replaced it with a decree of faith, invisible chains fell and money chased her as it was divinely ordained to do. And I recall a man who for decades lived under the shadow of financial drought, haunted by failed ventures and debts that clung to him like barnacles to a sinking ship. He came to me not for theory but for deliverance, having tried every worldly method to climb out of his pit of lack. As I spoke with him, I discerned the same venomous pattern. Though he worked like an ox and dreamed of success, his speech betrayed a hidden agreement with defeat. "I can't keep a job," he said with a bitter laugh. "I can't save a penny. I can't seem to break free." These were not mere expressions of frustration. They were decrees, self-fulfilling prophecies, commanding the universe to ensure that every attempt he made toward prosperity would collapse under the weight of his own unconscious word. When I taught him to cast down that serpent of can't, when I instructed him to take up the rod of authority within and speak as one made in the image of God, declaring, "I can, I will, I already possess all wealth that belongs to me by divine right," his countenance changed as though light had pierced a long-forgotten tomb. He began to walk, talk, and expect like a man of wealth and law, which is impersonal and precise, rearranged his world in obedience to his new decree. A business partner who had once betrayed him returned with restitution and opportunity. Long-denied contracts were approved overnight, and within months, he stood debt-free, owning properties he had once sworn he could never afford. The same man who lived under the yoke of "I can't" became a living testament to the truth that with one shift of the spoken word, the walls of Jericho fall flat and divine supply rushes in like a mighty river unstoppable by human hand. These stories are not isolated miracles. They are demonstrations of spiritual science, proofs of the law that governs all prosperity. Every listener of my voice must now understand that wealth is not withheld by a stingy heaven, not denied by fate or circumstance, but blocked only by the decree of the mouth and the belief etched into the subconscious by years of speaking limitation. Yet the moment you repent with your word, the moment you speak as a child of the infinite and decree your wealth, your freedom, your divine inheritance, law moves instantly to perform it, collapsing years of struggle into hours of manifestation. As we step into the next revelation, you will see clearly how this dangerous word has rooted itself in your life and subconscious, and you will prepare to uproot it completely, for divine fire is ready to consume every vestige of "I can't" and replace it with the roar of "I can" that heaven and earth must obey. Now that the dangerous word has been dragged into the light, unmasked and exposed for what it truly is, a spiritual thief, a silent saboteur of divine provision, it is time to take a lantern into the dim corridors of your own life and see where this venomous serpent has been slithering unnoticed. Many souls who hear this revelation will say to themselves, "But surely I do not use that word so often. Surely it cannot hold such sway over me." And yet, when the Spirit of Truth begins to whisper, memories will flash before your inner eyes of countless moments where "I can't" dripped from your tongue like a slow, relentless leak, carving channels in your subconscious mind. Channels that guided your finances like ditches dug in dry ground, always directing the flow away from you instead of toward you. This is why it is written that the heart must be searched diligently, for out of it flow the issues of life. If you do not become the vigilant watchman of your own speech, the enemy word will continue to patrol your borders, keeping out every angel of prosperity sent to minister to you. I say to you, begin now to examine your subconscious patterns as a master gardener examines the soil before planting a precious seed. The subconscious mind is fertile and obedient. It holds no judgment of what is placed in it. If you sow divine decrees of wealth, health, and success, it will bring forth a lush harvest. But if you sow fear-laden decrees of impossibility, it will, with equal diligence, bring forth thorns, weeds, and drought. You may believe you have moved past "I can't," that you have risen above such a word through affirmations and intentions, yet deep within, echoing through caverns carved over years of repeated utterance, the vibration of "can't" may still be humming, influencing your choices, shaping your posture, dulling your expectations of supply. Like a hidden poison buried beneath fertile earth, it continues to seep upward, unseen yet potent, until you uproot it completely with the flaming sword of conscious decree. How do you discern these patterns? Watch your internal dialogue when bills arrive in the mail and your heart trembles before even reading the amount. Listen to the words you mutter in secret when a divine idea for wealth flashes across your mind, but you immediately dismiss it with thoughts like, "I can't do that. I'm not ready. I don't have what it takes." Observe the phrases you release into conversations with family, friends, and colleagues, seemingly harmless words like, "I can't afford that vacation. I can't imagine making that much money. I can't see how this could change." These are not harmless. They are living decrees shaping your reality. And even when you do not speak them aloud, the energy of "I can't" can run like a silent undercurrent through your subconscious, sending signals to the universe, repelling blessings, sabotaging opportunities long before they can reach your doorstep. There is an exercise, simple yet profound, that tears the veil away from these hidden patterns. Take a journal and for 3 consecutive days, write down every phrase you speak or think that contains "I can't," "it's impossible," "there's no way," or any variation that denies divine possibility. Do not edit, do not judge, simply record as the scribe of your own subconscious court. At first you may believe there will be only a few entries, but as the hours pass, you will begin to see the enormity of the stronghold this word has built. You will see how often, without even noticing, you have spoken walls into existence around your wealth, building an invisible fortress of limitation with your own breath. When you read these entries at the end of the third day, it may feel as though a veil has been ripped away, for you will see clearly how this poisonous word has not been an occasional intruder, but a frequent, familiar guest in your inner chambers, sitting at the table of your destiny, denying entry to divine supply. But do not fear this revelation, for illumination is the first step toward liberation. The moment you see how entrenched "I can't" has become, you have already begun the process of casting it out. Like a hunter who finally spots the shadowy figure that has been stalking them through a dark forest, you will suddenly realize that the power of this word was never inherent. It lived only because you unconsciously fed it breath. And once you choose to withhold that breath, to replace it with words of divine authority, the shadow cannot stand. It dissipates like mist under the blaze of morning light. This is the holy moment where the Spirit of Truth gathers divine fire, ready to descend upon every root, every echo, every fortress of limitation that has been erected by this dangerous word in your life. As we step forward into the ritual of command, know that you will not merely silence "I can't." You will annihilate it, uproot it from your subconscious, and burn it to ashes, never to return, as rivers of wealth burst forth from every direction, rushing to fill the vacuum left behind. Now we have reached the moment where revelation must become revolution, where knowledge must transform into divine action. For it is not enough to simply know the dangerous word. It is not enough to trace its roots or see how it has twisted through your subconscious like dark vines. You must rise in the full majesty of your spiritual authority and break it, sever it, burn it out until not one tendril remains to strangle your finances ever again. The Spirit of the Lord rises within you now like a mighty warrior drawing a flaming sword, and with this sword forged in the fire of divine law, we shall cut away the old record of defeat that has been playing on repeat in the phonograph of your subconscious, scratching out every decree of "I can't" and replacing it with a new song, a new vibration, one that thunders through the invisible, commanding supply to flow freely, commanding every locked gate of wealth to burst open, commanding angels of prosperity to deliver what is yours by divine right without obstruction, without delay, without measure. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine before you a great wall, tall and thick as though carved from stone, the embodiment of every "I can't" you have ever spoken, every impossible thought you have ever entertained, every moment where fear spoke louder than faith, and see how it looms, keeping you from the golden fields of abundance glimmering just beyond it. This wall was not built by banks or governments or fate. It was built by words, your words, and because it was spoken into existence, it can be spoken out of existence. Now, with breath steady and heart ablaze with divine certainty, repeat with me, "By the Christ within, I tear down every wall of "I can't" that has stood between me and my wealth. I speak it gone, I speak it crumbled to dust, I speak it shattered by divine law." Say it not timidly, but with the roaring authority of spirit moving through you like thunder rolling across mountains. For heaven listens when you speak with alignment, and every decree you utter in this moment is carried by unseen messengers who rush to perform it with precision and power. And now imagine in your hand the very sword of spirit, radiant and alive with holy fire. See yourself raising it high, and as you do, declare, "I cut every chain, I sever every tie, I break every record of limitation that my own words have written. I speak freedom, I speak wealth, I speak divine inheritance released now." As you speak, see the chains falling in great heaps at your feet. Hear the old records of "I can't" snapping like brittle twigs under the weight of divine command. Feel the ground shaking as the walls of Jericho that surrounded your finances for years collapse into nothingness, leaving an open plain where divine supply can flow unobstructed. This is not imagination, this is spiritual law in action, for every word you decree with faith is a creative act. Every word is a hammer smashing old structures and building new temples of abundance in their place. And now, with that same sword still glowing in your grasp, turn toward the golden fields of prosperity, waiting beyond the rubble of old limitations, and declare aloud, "Infinite Spirit, open the way for great abundance to flow to me now." I am an irresistible magnet for all that belongs to me by divine right. Money, opportunities, and treasures from the north, south, east, and west rush to me in avalanches of grace and perfect ways. I welcome my wealth. I embrace my inheritance. I walk into my promised land without fear, without hesitation, without delay. Speak it again, louder this time, as though your voice is echoing through the corridors of eternity, shaking loose every blessing that has been hanging in limbo, commanding it to drop into your hands now. Say it until the very atmosphere around you feels charged, vibrating, electrified with expectancy. For when your spoken word aligns with divine law, creation itself must bend to obey. Feel the shift within you as this ritual ignites, for the subconscious mind is receiving every syllable like molten gold poured into a new mold, reshaping its patterns, erasing the grooves where "I can't" once ran like poison, engraving instead the living decree of "I can and I do, now and forever." Angels of provision, standing silent for years at the gates of your destiny, now hear the trumpet blast of your authority, and they move, swiftly and with purpose, gathering wealth, arranging meetings, clearing obstacles, stirring the hearts of others to deliver favor and resources you could not have orchestrated by human means. The divine law is clear. What you decree with unwavering faith manifests instantly on the invisible plane and begins to crystallize into form. And as you have spoken this day, so shall you see. Debts dissolving, doors swinging wide, income streams multiplying like rivers branching from an endless source. And as you stand there in the aftermath of this holy command, surrounded not by walls, but by open highways of possibility stretching farther than your eyes can see, declare once more to seal it, the word "I can't" is dead to me. It has no power, no voice, no echo in my life. I speak only the language of wealth, dominion, and divine authority. I decree now, I can do all things, I can receive all wealth, I can live in endless supply because I and my Father are one, and nothing can separate me from my divine inheritance. This is the covenant you have made with your own speech, and heaven records it even now. From this moment forward, every time the shadow of that dangerous word tries to rise from its grave, this decree will strike it down like lightning from heaven, reminding your subconscious, reminding the universe, reminding every power seen and unseen that you have spoken, you have commanded, and by divine law it is done, forever sealed in spirit. Now that the walls have fallen and the chains have been severed by your own spoken command, it is time to do more than simply tear down the old prison of limitation. You must step fully, irrevocably, and gloriously into the identity that has been waiting for you since the beginning of time. The identity that was written in the divine design when God breathed life into you and called you his beloved, entrusted you with dominion over every created thing, and appointed you as a steward of infinite riches. It is not enough to merely remove a block, for if you only destroy the prison walls without clothing yourself in the royal garments of wealth consciousness, if you do not consciously shift from the posture of a victim begging for scraps to the stance of a divine heir commanding their estate, the vacuum left behind by broken chains can be filled again by shadows of doubt and whispers of fear. Therefore, we now enact the great reversal, the transformation of identity, where you speak over yourself not as one hoping for change, but as one already enthroned in abundance, crowned with divine favor, walking in a realm where money is no longer a distant dream or a fleeting guest, but a faithful servant and companion, forever flowing in, multiplying, and overflowing in ways that bless you and everyone connected to you. Imagine for a moment that the rags of lack and the garments of poverty that you have worn for years, unknowingly woven from every "I can't" you ever uttered, are being stripped from you by angels of light, angels who smile as they pull from your shoulders these tattered cloaks of limitation, letting them fall to the ground where divine fire consumes them to ashes. See how your old self-image, the one who feared bills, who hesitated to ask, who thought wealth was for others but not for you, crumbles like a brittle statue, breaking apart piece by piece until there is nothing left but dust blowing away on the winds of spirit. And as the last fragment of that false self is carried off into nothingness, Watch as new garments of splendor are laid upon you, garments woven from threads of gold and silver light, radiating with the truth of your divine inheritance. Angels place upon your brow a crown studded with jewels brighter than the morning sun, and in your hand they place a scepter of spiritual authority that glimmers with the promise of endless supply. This is no fantasy or empty metaphor. This is the unseen yet very real transformation that occurs when your consciousness shifts from blocked to blessed, when you claim not just a momentary breakthrough but a permanent enthronement as a wealth-bearer in the kingdom of God. And now, with voice steady and filled with power, speak these words aloud with me. The old identity of lack, defeat, and limitation is dead to me. I bury it now in the grave of nothingness, never to rise again. I am reborn as the heir of divine abundance. I am clothed in riches of spirit and crowned with glory. Money serves me faithfully. Opportunities find me easily. Supply flows to me continuously from infinite channels. I am blessed beyond measure, and I bless others from the overflow of my divine inheritance. Speak it again, louder, so that every cell in your body, every corner of your subconscious, every force in the universe hears and responds. I am not blocked. I am blessed. I am not denied. I am divinely supplied. I am not poor. I am rich in every way, and my wealth multiplies daily, hourly, eternally by divine law. As you decree this, feel the shift within you, as if the ground beneath your feet has been replaced by streets of gold, as though the very air around you sparkles with opportunities waiting to manifest. Because this is the truth. When you change your identity, reality bends to match it, for spirit outpictures whatever image is impressed upon the inner mind. Now take a deep, deliberate breath and see yourself stepping forward, not as someone struggling to get free, but as one who walks in absolute freedom and authority, no longer glancing nervously at bills or wondering if wealth will come, but knowing, with the calm certainty of divine law, that every need is met before it even arises, that every desire aligned with spirit is already fulfilled, that every resource required for your purpose is delivered on time, in perfect ways, without effort or strain. Declare, I am the governor of my wealth. I command money by divine authority. I direct opportunities as a ruler directs their servants. I walk in power, in prosperity, and in peace, for I and the Father are one, and all that the Father has is mine now. Let these words sink deep into your subconscious like radiant seeds falling into rich soil, for they are not mere affirmations but identity decrees, planting a new self-image that will bear fruit in every area of your life, in bank accounts overflowing, in doors of favor flinging open, in debt dissolved like mist before the rising sun, in streams of income flowing in from sources you have not even imagined. And as you stand tall in this new royal consciousness, see the faces of those who once doubted you, who pitied you, who perhaps even mocked your struggles, now turning toward you with wonder as they behold the undeniable transformation wrought by divine law working through you. They see you not striving or begging, not chasing or pleading, but seated securely in the flow of infinite supply, radiating confidence, generosity, and unshakable faith. And from this place of abundance, you bless them, you uplift them, you speak decrees that unlock their wealth as well, because you are no longer a seeker, you are a distributor of divine riches, a channel through which heaven pours out blessings that transform not only your life, but the lives of countless others. This is who you truly are. This is who you have always been beneath the veil of I can't. And now, having torn that veil away forever, you rise as the blessed, wealthy, powerful child of the infinite, never again to bow before lack or speak limitation, but forever to reign in the wealth consciousness that lawfully belongs to you. Now that you have stripped away the old garments of defeat and clothed yourself in the radiant robes of divine inheritance, you must do more than simply wear this new identity. You must anchor it, weld it into the very fabric of your subconscious mind so deeply and so powerfully that no whisper of fear, no shadow of doubt, no echo of the old false word I can't can ever rise again to challenge or contaminate the royal decree you have spoken. You must seal this transformation as one seals a covenant scroll with the signet of a king, pressing into wax the undeniable imprint of authority that proclaims to heaven and earth, to seen and unseen realms alike, that you have spoken, you have claimed, you have become, and that nothing can reverse what divine law has already established. To do this, we now enter into the sacred flood of affirmations. Not weak wishes or tentative pleas, but thunderous, prophetic decrees spoken with such power, rhythm, and certainty that they echo through eternity, rearranging every fiber of your being and commanding every force of creation to deliver unending wealth to you without delay. This is the hammer that drives the golden nails of abundance into the structure of your destiny. This is the seal that binds prosperity to you as surely as the sun is bound to rise. With a steady breath and voice that trembles not with fear, but with the vibration of divine dominion, repeat after me, letting each word roll forth like a river carving new channels of blessing. I now open the floodgates of divine abundance. I decree that every channel of wealth prepared for me before the foundation of the world is free, unobstructed, and pouring forth supply in avalanches of grace and perfect ways. I am wealth, I am prosperity. I am the divine magnet that attracts gold, silver, and treasure from every direction without effort, without resistance, without delay. Feel this decree sinking into your subconscious, painting luminous images of overflowing barns, vaults of treasure, and rivers of money streaming toward you as easily and naturally as the tide returns to the shore. Say it again, louder, firmer, so that it vibrates through your entire being. I now open the floodgates of divine abundance. I decree that every channel of wealth prepared for me before the foundation of the world is free, unobstructed, and pouring forth supply in avalanches of grace and perfect ways. I am wealth, I am prosperity. I am the divine magnet that attracts gold, silver, and treasure from every direction without effort, without resistance, without delay. Now speak this next affirmation with a voice of calm certainty, as if you were simply describing what is already visible before your eyes. Money flows to me ceaselessly, effortlessly, and joyfully from expected and unexpected sources. I live in divine circulation, giving and receiving with limitless joy. Every bill is paid before it arrives, every debt dissolves as mist in the morning light, every need is met before it is spoken, for the Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. Visualize this reality with every syllable, the mailbox filled with checks and divine gifts instead of bills, the accounts brimming with surplus, the phone ringing with opportunities that multiply your wealth beyond comprehension. Speak it again, more slowly, savoring the truth of it like honey on your tongue. Money flows to me ceaselessly, effortlessly, and joyfully from expected and unexpected sources. I live in divine circulation, giving and receiving with limitless joy. Every bill is paid before it arrives, every debt dissolves as mist in the morning light, every need is met before it is spoken. For the Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. Continue now with the voice of a sovereign commanding legions of angels assigned to prosper you. I decree and declare that wealth is my divine birthright, and I claim it now in its fullness. I am surrounded by opportunities overflowing with blessing. Every door to prosperity stands open, every gate to wealth is lifted high, and I walk through these gates with joy and confidence, gathering my inheritance prepared for me since the beginning. Feel yourself stepping through these gates even as you speak, walking down golden paths lined with overflowing treasure chests and radiant beings rejoicing in your newfound dominion. Repeat with unshakable conviction, I decree and declare that wealth is my divine birthright, and I claim it now in its fullness. I am surrounded by opportunities overflowing with blessing. Every door to prosperity stands open, every gate to wealth is lifted high, and I walk through these gates with joy and confidence, gathering my inheritance prepared for me since the beginning. Now let the rhythm build as you declare rapid-fire affirmations that strike like bolts of lightning, each one blazing through your subconscious and burning away any remnants of the old false identity. I am rich now. I am free now. I am powerful now. I am blessed now. Money loves me now. Opportunities obey me now. Divine supply floods me now. Wealth is my nature now. Say these words not once, but 3, 4, 5 times, until they thunder from your chest like war drums summoning armies of prosperity to march to your side. Speak them until you feel an electric charge coursing through you, igniting every cell with the vibration of abundance, until you can see in your mind's eye the invisible becoming visible, treasures manifesting in real time, debts crumbling, investments multiplying, wealth gathering around you in avalanches of perfect grace. And now, with hands lifted high in gratitude and triumph, seal it with the decree that cannot be overturned. Infinite Spirit, I thank you that my wealth is unlimited, inexhaustible, and immediate. I praise you that every blessing that belongs to me by divine right is delivered now under grace in perfect ways. I rejoice that money pursues me, finds me, and piles up in overflowing heaps because I and my source are one, and separation is impossible. From this day forward, I live in opulence, I walk in abundance, I reign in wealth by the power of the spoken word and the law of Christ within me. Speak it once, twice, thrice, as if stamping it into spiritual stone, until you know beyond any trace of doubt that the floodgates have been opened, the seal has been set, and nothing can stop the rivers of supply rushing toward you now. Now, beloved soul, having struck down the false word that chained your wealth, having broken every rusted link of limitation with divine command, having clothed yourself in royal garments of abundance, having sealed your transformation with a flood of unstoppable affirmations that roar like heavenly waterfalls through every corridor of your subconscious mind, it is time to stand in the full stature of your divine authority and issue the final law command, a decree so absolute, so charged with the essence of spirit, so stamped with eternal truth, that it echoes through every dimension, resounding in the halls of heaven, reverberating across the invisible plane, compelling angels, unseen forces, and even matter itself to rise and rearrange until your wealth is manifested in totality, without obstruction, without delay, without measure. This is not a prayer whispered in hope, nor a plea cast into silence. This is a kingly edict, a sovereign utterance, the hammer strike of divine law that seals your destiny in prosperity forevermore. When this command is spoken, every shadow of lack flees like smoke before a roaring fire. Every enemy thought of poverty crumbles like sandcastles swept away by a tidal wave of spirit. Every locked gate to wealth bursts open with golden hinges flying. Every avenue of abundance long obstructed is instantly cleared as divine caravans of provision thunder toward you from every direction, laden with riches you had once thought impossible to receive. So breathe deep now, filling your lungs with the breath of life that is also the breath of God, and with your spine straight and spirit ablaze, speak this final law command aloud, letting it roll forth from your mouth as a trumpet blast announcing your enthronement in divine wealth. Infinite Spirit, source of all riches and glory, I command by divine right and spiritual authority that every treasure, every fortune, every channel of supply that belongs to me from before the foundation of the world is released now. I command rivers of gold, silver, and prosperity to rush to me unhindered, unstoppable, under grace and in perfect ways. I decree that abundance overflows in my life perpetually, eternally, irresistibly, for the Christ within me is the master of wealth, and I am one with infinite riches now. Feel the words vibrating not just in your throat, but in your bones, in your bloodstream, in the deepest sanctuary of your soul, as though molten light has been poured through you, branding this decree onto the fabric of your existence. Say it again, louder this time, firmer, more certain, until even the walls of your room seem to hum with its resonance. Infinite Spirit, source of all riches and glory, I command by divine right and spiritual authority that every treasure, every fortune, every channel of supply that belongs to me from before the foundation of the world is released now. I command rivers of gold, silver, and prosperity to rush to me unhindered, unstoppable, under grace and in perfect ways. I decree that abundance overflows in my life perpetually, eternally, irresistibly, for the Christ within me is the master of wealth, and I am one with infinite riches now. And one final time, to seal it utterly, to make heaven and earth tremble with certainty, Speak it with such boldness that your own subconscious leaps to attention and salutes this eternal order. Infinite Spirit, source of all riches and glory, I command by divine right and spiritual authority that every treasure, every fortune, every channel of supply that belongs to me from before the foundation of the world is released now. I command rivers of gold, silver, and prosperity to rush to me unhindered, unstoppable, under grace and in perfect ways. I decree that abundance overflows in my life perpetually, eternally, irresistibly, for the Christ within me is the master of wealth, and I am one with infinite riches now. As these words leave your lips, see them rise like blazing letters of light, soaring through the heavens, stamped with the seal of divine approval, carried on the wings of angels who speed to every corner of existence to enforce your command. See doors flying open in realms unseen, treasures being dislodged from the clutches of delay, favor cascading toward you in torrents unstoppable by human hand. Know that this decree is not wishful thinking, but spiritual legislation, not a timid request, but a law of spirit that cannot be revoked or overturned, for what is spoken in divine authority is already accomplished in the eternal now. Feel the shift within and around you as unseen currents realign, as the wealth that has been circling your life in waiting now rushes to you like bees to honey, as the atmosphere itself grows thick with provision, favor, and opportunity. Know that nothing can stop it, not circumstance, not doubt, not any earthly power, for the law has been spoken and heaven has recorded it. From this moment forward, you are marked by Spirit as one who reigns in abundance, whose coffers never empty, whose barns overflow, whose accounts multiply without ceasing, whose giving and receiving flow in divine circulation eternally. This is the final law command, the decree that seals your wealth not as something you hope to see one day, but as the living, breathing, manifest truth of who you are now and forevermore. And it is done, it is sealed, it is complete. Spirit has performed it now. And now, beloved soul of infinite worth, having journeyed through revelation and reversal, having burned the poisonous seed of I can't from the fields of your consciousness, having roared your identity as divine heir, sealed it with thunderous affirmations, and hammered heaven's courts with the final law command, you stand not as one who merely listens to spiritual truth, but as one who has stepped into the arena of divine dominion. Yet there is one more holy act, one more sacred seal to etch this transformation into the fabric of eternity, and that is the covenant of your own spoken wealth. A decree not written only in the air, but carved into the visible realm, a testimony that heaven and earth will witness, and that angels will carry like a contract signed in light, ensuring that nothing in heaven, nothing on earth, nothing beneath the earth can ever tear from you the wealth you have commanded. This covenant is more than ritual, more than ceremony. It is the moment where your voice and your action entwine like twin streams merging into a single mighty river, where Spirit records not only what you have said in secret, but what you have dared to declare boldly before all witnesses, marking you forever as one who has entered the unbreakable circle of divine prosperity. I say to you now, take up your own pen as a royal scribe and write the decree of wealth that has been spoken over you. Write it in the comments below as though etching it into a tablet of unshakable stone. Infinite Spirit has opened the floodgates of my wealth. I am one with endless supply. Rivers of money and opportunities pour to me now under grace in perfect ways. I am forever blessed and forever a blessing. Write it not mechanically, not timidly, but as the covenant of a spiritual king or queen who has signed the charter of their own reign. For each letter you inscribe, angels will trace it in heavenly gold, placing it before the throne as evidence that you have claimed what has always been yours, and law, seeing this testimony, will accelerate the rivers of provision, pushing them toward you swifter and swifter until you stand astonished at the avalanche of supply tumbling into your hands. This is not a mere action, it is a spiritual transaction, a cosmic contract that seals your words in the eternal record. But there is more. For 3 consecutive days, morning, noon, and night, speak your decree 21 times aloud, letting each repetition strike the subconscious like the ringing of a temple bell, echoing through the chambers of your being until not one corner remains where lack or fear can hide. This is not vain repetition, it is divine saturation, pouring truth like liquid gold into every crevice of mind and heart, replacing every trace of the old false identity with the living fire of wealth consciousness. As you do this, imagine yourself standing beneath a waterfall of golden light, cascading ceaselessly from the throne of infinite spirit, washing away every remnant of resistance, every vestige of limitation, every shadow of delay, until you are drenched, radiant, and glistening with prosperity. See coins of light swirling around you, bills of energy floating into your hands, treasures hidden for years suddenly rising to the surface of your life like pearls lifted from the ocean floor. With each spoken decree, feel the momentum build, the divine current accelerating, carrying you higher and higher into realms of abundance you once only glimpsed in dreams. And do not only speak these words, live them. Walk as one whose wealth is already manifest. Act as one who knows the universe is conspiring for their endless good. Give as one who has barns overflowing with more than enough. Decide, move, breathe as a divine heir whose steps are ordered in prosperity. As you do this, watch for signs and wonders. Unexpected checks appearing, forgotten debts canceled, strangers moved to give, doors swinging wide where walls once stood. These are not coincidences. They are the physical signatures of a spiritual law now fully activated in your life. Testify when these miracles arrive. Return to proclaim that the covenant has proven true. For your testimony is another decree, another contract sealing your wealth ever tighter, ensuring it grows, multiplies, and spreads to bless all who come near you. So rise now, clothed in divine splendor, crowned with gold light, scepter of authority in hand, and declare before the universe, I have entered covenant with wealth. I have spoken, and it is done. Infinite Spirit performs it now. Write it, speak it, live it, breathe it, until even the earth beneath your feet vibrates with your decree. And as you do, know this: money, opportunities, resources, treasures unseen are even now racing toward you, swirling in an unstoppable torrent. For heaven has heard your voice, earth has recorded your words, law has been set in motion, and nothing in creation can undo what Spirit has sealed by your own covenant decree. Even as you stand now in this holy moment of covenant, with the roar of wealth decrees echoing through eternity and the seal of divine law burning bright in the unseen, there is yet a deeper current we must step into. For the Spirit is not finished expanding your consciousness and multiplying your blessings beyond what you have thus far imagined. You have broken the chains of limitation. You have uprooted the poisonous seed of I can't. You have enthroned yourself in wealth consciousness and carved your decree into the invisible records of heaven. But Infinite Spirit does not stop at restoration. It moves in avalanches of increase. It delights in multiplying what has been redeemed. And it pours out blessings not merely to fill your barns, but to flood entire fields of destiny with treasures that ripple outward to generations yet unborn. This is the law of divine multiplication, and it is not a timid trickle of incremental gain, but a cosmic acceleration, a spiritual whirlwind that gathers seeds you have sown in faith, in giving, in spoken decree, and returns them to you pressed down, shaken together, and running over, overflowing your life in such measure that you cannot contain it alone, but must release it to others, creating cycles of blessing that circle the earth and return again multiplied in even greater power. Imagine now that every word of wealth you have spoken in faith is a seed of light cast into the boundless fields of the universe. These seeds do not fall onto barren ground, but into soil rich with divine energy, soil that does not merely grow but explodes with life, producing harvests far exceeding the natural measure of what was sown. Where you spoke one decree, heaven multiplies it 1,000-fold, summoning opportunities and resources from every corner of existence. A single act of generosity given in trust to Spirit becomes a torrent of provision, swirling back to you through channels you could not have foreseen, touching hands you have never met, moving through systems and structures unseen, until it cascades into your life as miracles that leave you breathless. This is why Florence Scovel Shinn taught that giving precedes receiving, that when you cast your bread upon the waters, it returns in ways and times that stagger the rational mind. It is not loss to give. It is divine investment. It is sowing seed into a field that only multiplies, never diminishes, for the law of spirit knows no subtraction, only endless addition, only infinite multiplication. So now, having claimed your wealth, speak this with the voice of one who knows their words are living forces that shape reality. I give and I receive in divine circulation. Every gift I release is a seed of limitless harvest. Infinite Spirit multiplies every act of generosity, every spoken decree, every seed of faith 1,000-fold, and returns it to me in avalanches of abundance. I am a channel of wealth. Riches flow to me and through me, endlessly, blessing all who come near me. Repeat it until your very breath vibrates with the rhythm of divine circulation, until you feel not merely like a receiver of wealth, but a fountain, a river, an unending stream pouring forth prosperity that cannot run dry because it is fed directly by the source of all supply. This is not poetic fancy. It is divine mechanics, spiritual mathematics that governs energy itself. The more you release, the more channels open. The more you bless, the more blessings return. The more you command wealth in alignment with truth, the more divine law rushes to amplify that command, weaving it into every fiber of creation and delivering its multiplied harvest back into your hands. And let this truth expand even further. The multiplication of wealth is not for accumulation alone, but for transformation. For spirit delights not only in your prosperity, but in the ripple effect it creates when wealth is used to break chains of lack in others, to lift the downtrodden, to heal, to build, to bless, to mirror on earth the opulence of heaven. When you see yourself as a divine distributor, when you awaken to the realization that wealth is not a static possession, but a living, breathing flow designed to move through you in waves that transform lives, you align with a frequency that magnetizes abundance on a level that defies logic and transcends every earthly limitation. From this posture of royal generosity, you become untouchable by fear of loss, immune to cycles of scarcity, for you know that every seed you sow, every word you decree, every resource you release is instantly multiplied by infinite intelligence and returned to you in forms and magnitudes that make yesterday's blessings seem like a shadow compared to today's glory. And so, beloved soul, step into this deeper realm with courage and joy. Speak boldly the decrees of multiplication, act fearlessly in generosity, walk daily in the certainty that divine law does not simply restore what was blocked, but overflows it, multiplies it, magnifies it beyond measure. And as you continue to walk this path, remember that wealth is not confined to money alone, but encompasses health, love, creativity, peace, and purpose, all multiplied as rivers flowing together into a vast ocean of divine fulfillment. From this day forward, you are not a seeker of wealth, but a master of divine multiplication, a radiant center of giving and receiving, a living demonstration that spirit is opulence itself and that you and opulence are one. Every step you take from this moment is upon streets paved with gold light. Every word you speak is a seed that blossoms instantly in unseen fields. Every breath you draw is a magnet pulling treasures from the four winds. Know this, believe this, speak this, and watch as divine multiplication becomes not just a promise, but the very atmosphere in which you live, move, and have your being. And now, beloved soul, as we stand together at the summit of this divine journey, a journey that began in the shadowed valley of unconscious words, that climbed through the revelation of spiritual law, that marched boldly into the battlefield where the poisonous decree of "I can't" was struck down by the sword of your own spoken authority, that ascended into the royal halls of identity reversal where you were crowned and enthroned as a true heir of wealth, that surged onward through floods of affirmations sealing your transformation, that thundered with the final law command which heaven recorded and the earth obeyed, that carved a covenant into the eternal records of spirit through your sacred decree, that overflowed into realms of multiplication where abundance not only restored but expanded beyond measure. It is here, at this peak of revelation and transformation, that I now speak a closing benediction over you, a blessing drawn not from human will but from the inexhaustible treasury of infinite spirit, a blessing that will echo long after these words have ceased, shaping every moment of your life with golden threads of prosperity, peace, and divine fulfillment. Hear me now, for I speak as one aligned with the unshakable law of Christ within. I bless your mind this day, that every thought of lack, every whisper of fear, every shadow of I can't, is forever burned away by the radiant light of truth, leaving only the clear, luminous vision of abundance and divine possibility. I bless your words, that from this moment forward every syllable you utter is a decree of wealth, every phrase a seed of prosperity planted in the fertile fields of spirit, growing swiftly into forests of opportunity, into harvests so vast that you will not have room enough to contain them. I bless your hands, that every work they touch prospers, every endeavor they engage multiplies, every act of giving they perform returns in rivers of overflowing blessing. I bless your feet, that every step you take is guided by divine wisdom, leading you unerringly into open doors of success, into territories of plenty, into paths where angels of provision walk beside you, carrying treasures unseen until now revealed. I speak over your home, that it is filled with light, love, and inexhaustible supply, that peace reigns in every corner and joy sings from every wall. I speak over your finances, that debts are dissolved as easily as mist evaporates in morning sunlight, that accounts swell with unexpected deposits, that streams of income open from sources, visible and invisible, natural and supernatural, until you stand in awe of the avalanche of provision cascading into your life. I speak over your relationships, that divine connections are drawn to you magnetically, bringing collaboration, opportunity, and wealth alignment, while every toxic tie that once drained your supply is severed cleanly and forever by the sharp blade of divine wisdom. I speak over your spirit, that it is fortified with unshakable faith, with fearless dominion, with joy that cannot be quenched by circumstance, with gratitude that magnetizes even greater abundance, with clarity that sees opportunity where others see only desert, and with divine intuition that leads you always to the overflowing rivers of provision prepared for you before time began. As this benediction flows from my mouth, see in the theater of your mind golden oil being poured upon your head from an unseen yet undeniable heavenly vessel. Oil that runs down, soaking every fiber of your being. Oil that carries with it healing for old wounds of lack, cleansing for memories of poverty, restoration for every moment you felt denied or delayed, and empowerment that ignites in you an unbreakable wealth consciousness that nothing in creation can ever strip away. Feel this oil as it drips down your shoulders, your arms, your hands, even your feet, consecrating every step you will take from this day forward as holy ground, marking you as one who walks in divine opulence, as one who no longer chases money, but whose mere presence attracts gold, silver, and treasure, because Spirit itself has stamped you as a magnet for riches, a vessel of prosperity, a lighthouse guiding streams of wealth from every corner of existence into your life. And as I bless you now, know that this is not an ending, but a divine commencement. This is your prophetic turning point where every moment ahead unfolds like a golden scroll inscribed with miracles of provision, with testimonies of sudden increase, with stories of impossible debts dissolved overnight, of opportunities appearing like stars suddenly unveiled in a midnight sky, of generational curses of poverty shattered and replaced with legacies of abundance that your children and their children's children will inherit and expand. As surely as Spirit has heard, as surely as law has been spoken, as surely as heaven has recorded, every blessing, every promise, every decree of wealth issued in this sacred hour is already accomplished in the unseen and will now crystallize into the visible with speed that astonishes you and everyone who beholds your transformation. Go forth, therefore, clothed in royal garments of prosperity, crowned with divine wisdom, wielding the scepter of spiritual authority, walking on streets paved with favor and opportunity, blessing others from the endless overflow of your own wealth. Speak only the language of abundance, decree only the laws of increase, walk only the paths of prosperity. For Infinite Spirit has sealed this work, has established your covenant, has multiplied your provision, and has anointed you forever as a living testimony that divine law governs wealth, that the spoken word shapes destiny, that lack is an illusion dissolved by truth, and that heaven's treasury is open wide to every soul bold enough to decree its riches by faith. It is done. It is sealed. Spirit has performed it now.